There is something happening inside millions of people right now that most of them cannot fully explain. A quiet ringing that appears without warning. A subtle muffling of sounds that used to be sharp and clear. A creeping sense that conversations are becoming harder to follow. That the world around them is slowly losing definition. Most people assume it is just age. They accept it. They move on. And that, as you are about to discover, may be one of the most costly assumptions a person can make. Because what researchers are beginning to understand, and what very few people are talking about, is that hearing decline is rarely just about the ears. It goes much deeper than that. The ear is not an isolated organ. It is directly wired to your brain, your nervous system, your circulatory health, and your body's internal stress response. What damages one quietly damages the others, and the process often begins years before you ever notice a single symptom. But here is where it gets interesting. If the problem is not only in the ear, then the solution cannot only focus on the ear either. And that realization is changing the way scientists, nutritionists, and wellness researchers are approaching auditory health entirely. Today, we are going to take a deep and honest look at a formula called AudiLeaf. What it contains, how it is positioned, what the science behind its key ingredients suggests, and whether it belongs in a serious conversation about hearing, brain and nerve support. This is not a commercial. This is a documentary-style breakdown, and by the end, you will have a much clearer picture of what is actually going on inside the auditory system, and why so many people are searching for something beyond the conventional answers they have been given. Let us start with the problem that almost nobody is fully explaining. Your inner ear contains some of the most delicate and metabolically active cells in the entire human body. These are called hair cells, tiny sensory structures inside the cochlea that convert sound vibrations into electrical signals your brain can interpret. They are extraordinarily sensitive, and unlike many other cells in the body, once they are damaged, they do not regenerate. What damages them? Several things. Chronic noise exposure, poor circulation to the inner ear, oxidative stress, the biological process where unstable molecules called free radicals begin breaking down healthy tissue faster than the body can repair it. And one more factor that is almost never discussed in mainstream conversations about hearing health: nervous system overload. Chronic stress floods the body with a hormone called cortisol. When cortisol levels remain elevated for extended periods, they trigger inflammation. They constrict blood vessels. They reduce the flow of oxygen and nutrients to peripheral tissues, including the inner ear. They create a biochemical environment where the auditory system, already under pressure, begins to struggle silently. And here is the part that most people miss entirely. The auditory nerve, the pathway that carries sound signals from your ear to your brain, runs through a neurological environment that is deeply sensitive to that same oxidative and inflammatory pressure. When that environment becomes compromised, the signals that travel along it can become distorted, delayed, or weakened. That is not just a hearing problem. That is a brain-ear communication problem, by the way. Tell me in the comments where you are watching from. And if you or someone close to you has been quietly dealing with changes in hearing, clarity, or focus, I would really like to hear your story. Now, let us talk about what AudiLeaf is actually trying to address. AudiLeaf is formulated as a multi-ingredient support blend. Its positioning centers on 3 pillars: ear wellness, brain clarity, and nervous system support. And what is notable about its approach is that it does not try to treat hearing as an isolated issue. Instead, it aims to support the full biological environment in which hearing and auditory processing take place. The formula includes ingredients that have been studied for their potential roles in supporting circulation, reducing oxidative pressure, calming inflammatory pathways, and supporting neurological function. Among the compounds most frequently cited in auditory wellness research are antioxidants that help neutralize free radical activity in cochlear tissue, botanicals associated with improved peripheral blood flow, and nutrients with documented roles in nerve signal transmission and brain communication efficiency. This matters because the science of hearing support is moving away from single-target thinking. Researchers are increasingly looking at the ear-brain nerve axis as a unified system, one that benefits from comprehensive biological support rather than surface-level interventions. The surprising part is how many people who begin paying attention to this system who start supporting circulation, managing oxidative stress, and nourishing their nervous system report noticeable improvements in how they experienced sound, clarity, and mental focus. Not because a single ingredient fixed a single problem, but because the entire system was finally being addressed as what it actually is, interconnected. AudiLeaf's design philosophy appears to reflect that understanding. It is not positioned as a cure. It is not presented as a reversal of any clinical condition. It is designed to support, to provide the nutritional environment in which the auditory system, the brain and the nervous system can function with greater resilience. For anyone who has been told that declining clarity is simply something to accept, that framing may feel like a meaningful alternative perspective. Now, if you are watching this video and you are genuinely curious about AudiLeaf, if you want to look at the full formula, understand each ingredient, and decide whether it aligns with your personal wellness approach, the link to learn more is available in the pinned first comment below this video. Take your time, read carefully, ask questions. What matters most right now is this: your hearing health is not a passive process. It is not something that simply happens to you. It is shaped by circulation, by oxidative load, by nervous system health, by the quality of the biological environment inside your auditory system every single day. The false idea that hearing decline is an inevitable and irreversible consequence of aging is one of the most limiting beliefs in modern wellness. The science does not fully support that assumption, and the growing field of auditory wellness research is giving people tools, insights, and support options that simply did not exist a generation ago. AudiLeaf is one part of a much larger conversation. A conversation about what it means to take the health of your ears, your brain, and your nervous system seriously. A conversation that begins not with resignation, but with clarity, because when you understand the full picture, you do not just hear differently, you think differently too.